Alright, so continuing the theme of extending what we can do with a certain amount of flame, or a certain amount of fuel, basically. Applies in any cooking situation, whether we're cooking here with, with propane or some type of canned gas, or on a campfire, or one of my wood-burning stoves, or even with solar cooking. It's something that, with the same amount of energy input, you can get a lot more cooking than, you can get a lot more cooking out of it if you use the principles behind thermal cooking. So you might have looked this up before and came across concepts of like a Wonder Box and stuff. And usually they're like, people make these really big contraptions and get some fabric and put all this foam. I've tried foam before, and it's these little foam beads. They're really messy. They leak. They get all over my camper and stuff. I don't want to mess with those things ever again. I still have some in here in my refrigerator cooler system, and they work really well. But there were some punctures that, like, the little beads, they get everywhere. They stick to stuff, and they really make a mess. So anyway, I wanted to adapt that system to a couple ways that I could do them really conveniently and in lots of situations, and allow for some really long boil times. So, to cook things that require long boil times, like rice and like potatoes, require a lot of cooking. Beans require a lot of cooking. You don't want to be sitting here wasting your propane boiling something for an hour, or however long you need to do it. So I had to adapt some principles, and I'm going to go through two of them in these next two videos. So in this one, we're going to do the simple version, which is sort of your standard, sort of your standard Wonder Box idea, though I've adapted it in my own way to make it more handy. And I think at some point, sort of space is at such a premium in a small space like this. If you have a larger vehicle, then you might consider having a space for like a dedicated like Wonder Box where you could stick your pots and stuff, especially if you like to use larger pots. You've noticed that I use little backpacking pots that are, and even smaller like that. They're much more efficient. You lose a lot less heat by using the smaller pots, and they're also black, so they absorb the heat, as well as, like, I can stick them out in the sun or stick them in a solar oven. They're very versatile this way. So, yeah, I try to keep it really, really small with sort of a backpacking sort of mentality. So, what I'm doing is I figured out a couple ways that work for me, and what we're going to do is we're going to use sort of the standard Wonder Box method adapted, and I'm going to use it on something that requires a longer boil time than I would normally want to dedicate my fuel to. And we're going to do that with a mixture of basically instant rice. It takes a 10-minute boiling time. So what I do is I just get it to a boil, and then I put it in my Wonder Box replacement, which I will show you in a moment. So first I'll just, which one did I use? This one. Just basically did what I needed to do. Stick that in there. It requires a cup of water and then a cup of this stuff. And then let's give it a little mix. And then I'll put it on the flame and I'll get it up to boiling time. And then I'll show you what I do at that point. Let's turn it down. If you see yellow flames, it means you're wasting fuel. Get it back down to blue. Where's the lid? Where did I put the lid? There it is. So there's the lid. Get my reflectors in place. Everything's kind of like moved around making videos. So I'll put the reflectors in place, and then of course I could put my box on there. I'm just going to do it this way, and then I'll see you in a moment when I do the next step. Alright, so it's definitely boiling. So here's what we're going to do next. We have this simple cooler thermos cooler fabric thing. You can find them at thrift stores, really easy. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just they all work the same. And it's lined here with some, I just got some fleece. I found it in a thrift store. So it's basically a little wonder box that I can just insert my pot in there. So here's what we do. Turn this off. You don't necessarily have to turn it off. And I'm going to flip these handles off of here. You want to do this process as quickly as you can. It's in the way, sorry. I'm going to make it round, and I don't have a proper things, but I'm just going to grab that, stick it in the box. Sometimes I put it in a bag first. Today I'm just doing it a little quicker. So, get stuff out of the way. Just stuff it in there. And this has also been sitting in the sun, so it's a little hotter. You want to give yourself every advantage you can, because if you have anything in there that's cold, it'll just suck the heat right out of your cooking. So it's in there, and I'm just going to leave it for, I could leave it as long as I want. I'm just going to come back to it. The boiling time it wants is 10 minutes, but the temperature will have dropped considerably. As soon as I take it off the boil, it starts dropping really fast. So, but the idea is hopefully, you know, boiling happens at 212 Fahrenheit, and if we can keep it somewhere around like 150 or so, then it will continue the boiling process, and you could leave it as long as it takes. And sometimes you open it up and you say, oh, it got too cold, and you just stick it back on the stove, and it'll finish up in just a couple, you know, it'll be really quick. So, is that it? Yeah, it's just basically this, and there's other things that you can do, and I'll show more of that in the next video, where I talk about like really increasing the efficiency of this whole system.